want to share a little bit about yourself, and then I'll leave it open for you to also share. But Jason started in the industry at the age of 18, has been full-time for the last 24 years. I love it when he shares, never filled out a resume, never had a job, spoken to hundreds of thousands of people across the world with organizations spanning the globe. And he loves people, building people up, making a difference in people's lives and helping them achieve their dreams. And so that's the main reason why we want to hear from you tonight. He's married for the past 7 years to his beautiful wife, Jen, and he loves his real life alarm clock. I can attest to that. His two kiddos, Daniel and then Betsy. So the stage is yours, Jason. I'm here with my pen ready to take notes. Thank you for being on tonight.
Awesome. I really appreciate you having me, and welcome to all of you out there calling in from across the United States. I know we have some people calling in from across the world, and it's always an honor and it's always a privilege to speak to my Jeunesse family and to talk to you about the business that has absolutely changed my life, my wife's life, my family's life over the last 4.5 years in an industry that has changed my world since I was an 18-year-old kid. I've now been involved in this crazy network marketing industry for now over 25 years. It was November of 1991 when I first got started, and I first got that phone call to go look at this business. And I can tell you, when I first saw it, I saw it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how it worked. But when a guy got up on a whiteboard and drew a bunch of blue circles and told me that all I had to do was refer people that I knew and that I would come to know, people that I cared about, my friends, my family, to some information. And the more I did that, the more I would succeed. And all I had to do was just fill those circles up with people. And if it was a learnable, teachable, duplicatable system, then those people could duplicate what I did and do the same thing. And if the product was good, if the company was good, then ultimately I could live a life that I would only dream of living. A life where I would not have to have an alarm clock, a life where I would never have to fill out a resume, a life where I could literally work very hard. Now, again, it's not about fly-by-night. It's not about get rich quick. It's not about something for nothing. It's not about signing up and getting a check in the mail, but something I could work really hard at and master over the course of 4, 5, 6 years, but that would continue to pay me long after the work had been completed, because I laid a foundation and it kept to grow all over the country and eventually all over the world. And I can tell you that came true. It was real. Now, was it hard? Yes. But was it worth it? Yes. And tonight I want to talk to you about 3 different things. I want to talk to you about belief. I want to talk to you about belief in this incredible company that we call Jeunesse. I want to talk about belief in you, belief in other people, belief in the product. Everything rises and falls in this business and in life on leadership. You show me a great sports team. NBA playoffs are going on right now. You show me a great church, a great social organization. You show me a great business. I will show you something that has great leadership. Show me a mediocre business, mediocre team, mediocre leadership. Show me a team that's going backwards, a business is going backwards, bad leadership. And so I learned at a very young age that you've got to, number one, believe in what you're doing. Believe in the leadership that's leading you. My mentor taught me very young age. He said, Jason, show me your mentor and I will predict your future. Show me who you believe in. Show me who you listen to. Show me who you're around on a daily basis. And I'll predict where you end up, because the power of association, the power of the people that you're around, the power of your peer group, the power of what you input into your mind on a daily, weekly, monthly basis is going to determine the way you think. And the way you think is going to determine the way that you act. And the way you act is going to determine whether you're successful or whether you're unsuccessful in business, in relationships, in life, and it all comes down to leadership. And I can tell you that Jeunesse is run by some of the finest people that I've ever been around in the last 25, 26 years. And it all started for us in Jeunesse when I got a telephone call from a guy, and some of you heard the story. I really didn't like this guy very much. I love this guy today, but I didn't like him very much. I didn't know him very well. I'd only seen him one time. It wasn't a good experience. And when he called me, he said, you need to come out and meet these people. These people are awesome. They're your kind of people in this company called Jeunesse. I said, what? He said, Jeunesse. I said, what does it even mean? He says, it means youth in French, and you need to come see it. And again, I didn't like him very much. So I said, well, are you going to be my sponsor? He said, yeah. I said, well, I ain't coming. We hung up the phone, and that was it. And my wife sat there, and she said, well, who was that? So that's this guy out in California. I don't like him very much. And he wanted me to come see a business. And she looked at me, and she said, didn't your dad ever tell you to take every meeting? If you don't go, you'll never know. And he did, and that's very true. And she started talking about, maybe that I didn't see this guy's whole movie. Maybe I just saw a snapshot. She said, maybe it was a snapshot, not his movie. Why don't you give him a second chance? Now, truth be known, she's from California. She just wanted to go to California. But it worked, and we went. And thank God we went, because we got to know this guy who became my sponsor a lot better, and really fell in love with who he was and fell in love with his heart. And he was having a bad day that day. But he's had a lot of good days ever since then. And one of those good days was when he brought us down to Beverly Hills, and we got to meet Randy Ray and Wendy Lewis and Scott Lewis for the very first time, who are the leadership that run this company. They are the people that make the decisions that make this company great. They're the people that, 6.5, 7 years ago, put the reserve in Dixie cups and just had a dream to take this thing all over the world. And now, just last week, we're rated the top 14th company in the world in this direct sales business that we're in, and they're only growing. And I can tell you, a rising tide lifts all boats, but you got to get your boat in the water. But the number one thing you got to believe in when you're involved in a business, I believe, is the people that you're in business with. And again, the people make the company. The company doesn't make the people. It's the people. And you can show me a great comp plan. You can show me incredible products. You can show me timing that's second to none. First with the idea, first to tell the world. You can show me a global infrastructure. You can show me all those things. But if the wrong people are steering the ship, that business will fail 100% of the time. And it just so happens with Jeunesse that not only do we have a global infrastructure second to none, an incredible comp plan, not only do we have products that are category creators in every category that they're in, not only do we have an incredible culture, an incredible spirit, events all over the entire world, we've got it all. But the most important piece of this puzzle are the people. And we got a chance to get to know them that day. They had just come off of a plane. I think they had traveled 24 hours from somewhere in Asia, and they sat with my wife and me and literally for 2 hours, and they shared their vision of Jeunesse. They talked about the products, but more importantly, they talked about the people. They talked about the heartbeat of the company. And my wife, for those of you that are new to Jeunesse, or for those of you that may have a spouse that's not that positive about Jeunesse or about network marketing, or not quite sure what you're doing or what you're in, that was me, because I had done this all my life, but I'd only met my wife a few years before, and we had just been part of a company that sold, and so she never really saw me go do anything, but yet this was my whole world. It was my whole life. And she told me on the way into this meeting, she said, Jason, you need to know something before we go in this meeting. I don't really like network marketing. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, I don't like it. My dad was using a bunch of different deals, and always got real excited, and he'd sign me up for all these things, and nothing ever really panned out. But I went to the meetings, and I saw all the rah-rah and all the hype, and, everything just kind of sounds the same to me, and I don't really like it. And I said, well, what does that mean for us? And she said, well, we're married. I support you. You're my man. You're my guy. I'll support you to the ends of the earth. I said, well, what does that look like in network marketing? She says, two things I'm not doing. I'm not talking to anybody, and I'm not selling anything. And I said, well, what's left? She goes, I don't know, but what's ever left, I'll specialize in that. I said, great. So then we walk into the meeting to meet Randy and Wendy. And so first thing she does is she looks at Randy Ray, thinking that Randy Ray, he's the guy. He must be the guy that, runs the ship. And again, he's a huge part of the ship, but there's another huge part of the ship called Wendy Lewis, as most of you know, and Scott Lewis. But she looks at Randy and she says, Mr. Ray, I'm sure you have the greatest products in the world. And we didn't even know what the products were. I'm sure you have more money than God. I'm sure your timing is just the best ever. I'm sure that, the timing is to this business what location is to real estate. And she started rattling off all the stuff she had heard. I'm sure you got the best comp. I'm sure you pay out more than anybody in the industry. She said, but I don't want to know what you do because I already know what you do. She said, I want to know why you do it. And he looked at her and he said, sugar. Now, you don't call a girl from California sugar, but Randy from Tennessee somehow got away with it, and she kind of perked up a little bit. And he said, that's a great question. He says, nobody's ever asked me that question. He said, I figure we made more money than we could ever make in 10 lifetimes. He said, so I don't think it's not really for the money. He said, we really just want to help people like you and your husband, average people who have above average dreams and want to have an above average life. And, we just want to touch people. He said, I grew up and I was poor, and I grew up, being taught that the only thing that really mattered in this world is that you were good to the earth and good to the people on earth. And that when you left the world, that the only thing that really matters is that you made a difference while you were here. And nobody ever took a U-Haul to heaven. He said, so I think we do this because, when I leave this world, I want my maker to say, Randy Ray, a job well done. And, we feed starving children all over the world. We don't just feed them for a day. We don't just teach them, give them a fish. We teach them how to fish. And we're building orphanages and schools. And he started, showing my wife, Jen, all these pictures of all these kids. And it became a lot bigger than just network marketing, a lot bigger than just a product. It became something that really got her heart. And she kind of got tears in her eyes. He got tears in his eyes. They stood up. It was like this moment, and they get, big hugs. And then she looks at me and she says, these are the right people. I've never seen one of these with the right people. She said, we just found our home. Now, you figure out the rest. Now keep in mind, we were on Rodeo Drive. We were sitting right next to Nathan Newman's office, who is the doctor that created the Luminesce line of stem cell technology products. His office is right next door to the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Ladies on the phone, that's where Pretty Woman was filmed. We're right there. So Jen is chomping at the bit. She says, well, we're on Rodeo Drive and Wilshire Boulevard. You figure out the rest. I'm going to go shopping. And she did. And we figured out the rest. And I found that not only did we have all these things in place, but we were in business with some of the finest people on earth, people that I could believe in. You see, people believe in people who believe in other people. And if you don't believe in someone else, it's going to be real hard for someone to believe in you. But I can tell you can believe in this company. You can believe in the people behind it. You can believe in the corporate staff who is second to none. They hire the brightest and the best from literally all over the world. And there are corporate people in network marketing beating down the doors to try to get interviews at Jeunesse Global, to be a part of not just a company, but the fastest growing movement in our industry, not only in the United States of America, but across the entire world. And so belief. You believe in what you're in, number one. Then it makes it real easy to tell the story to other people. And I can tell you, you're a paid storyteller. As my upline and mentor, Teresa Gregory, always says, we're paid storytellers. We just get paid to tell stories. And we tell the story of a great company. We tell our story of how we got involved. If we're brand new, and some of you might be new on the phone tonight, you tell the story of other people who are successful, and you learn their stories by being on webinars like this, by being on, Kasaya's event that she puts on every Saturday, by being on the corporate conference calls, by attending every event that you could possibly attend, by watching every video on Jeunesse YouTube channel. You start to learn the stories of other people, and you start to tell those stories. And you see, there are a lot of facts, and I could dive into, what's in the product and all these ingredients. And let me just tell you, that's all great. Facts tell, but stories sell. And I can tell you, my wife, she's a raw vegan, which means she doesn't eat any meat. She doesn't eat anything with a face. She eats plants and greens and, whatever vegan people eat, okay? And I'm the exact opposite. It's fun cooking dinner in her house. But she won't put anything in her body, on her body, that's not 100% natural. So she was very skeptical of the products. But she started using the serum, and it absolutely blew her away. Now she uses all the products. And so the products are awesome, but it's about the stories behind the products and what they do for your life and the lives of other people that builds that belief in that product and that belief in the company. And the third phase of belief is belief in you. And I can tell you, when I got started in this industry, I didn't believe in me. I didn't believe I could do anything. But here's what my sponsor told me. He was 31 years old. I was 18. He was married with 2 kids. I never dreamed I would get married and have kids. I was an 18-year-old punk kid drinking beer out of a cowboy boot. Now, if you're from South Louisiana, you know what that looks like. If you're not, that's what we do. Nothing like some beer with some Desenex in it down here when you're a kid. So, yeah, gross, right? Well, that's all I knew. And so I didn't believe I could do anything. But you know what he told me? He said, I tell you what, I'll believe in you till you believe in you. And the more he believed in me, guess what? The more I believed in me. The more that I got around other people who believed in themselves, the more I believed in me. The more I learned about the company, the more I learned about the product, the more I learned about other people who had been successful, the more I started to believe that if they could do it, I could do it too. How do you build your belief in you? You get around other people who believe in themselves. If you don't have anybody in your house that believes in themselves, get out of your house. If none of your friends believe in themselves the way you go get new friends. If you can't go get new friends, learn how to listen to people who are successful. Here's what I learned. You are the sum total of the top 5 people that you hang around and listen to every day. Now, some of you probably need to change your starting 5 like me. The top 5 people I hung around were my 5 beer drinking buddies. They didn't make any money, right? They were going nowhere fast. Most of them were 3rd, 4th year sophomores in college. And that was my peer group. What was I going to learn from them? Nothing. Nothing. So what did I do? I started to listen to John Maxwell. I started to listen to Tony Robbins. I started to listen to Jim Rohn. I started to listen to people who were successful in life who would start to change the way that I think and change the way that I believe. And so if you want to change the way you believe, start listening to people who believe. And if you start to believe in the company, you start to believe in the products, and you start to believe in you, you'll start to believe in other people, that people you talk to can also build this business. But you only build it. You only take action to the extent that you believe that it's going to work. If you're not taking the action you know you need to take, you don't have an action problem, you have a belief problem. Because the moment that you start believing is the moment you're going to start going to work. So, number 2, I want to talk about inspiring. Inspiration. What does that mean? What does it mean to inspire? I talked about facts telling and story selling. Okay, I was inspired by people that got up on a stage at events and started telling me their story of coming from something to nothing. Randy Ray's story is probably the best we have in the entire company. And he's one of the founders of the company. Literally grew up with absolutely nothing. 0. Could not read, could not write, but ultimately worked his way up to where he got around people who would teach him, who would mentor him, learn to read, learn to write, learn how to become successful, and became a multi-millionaire from nothing. There are people like that out there every day. You got to go learn their stories. You got to go see them. You got to go feel them. You got to go believe them, and that will inspire you to grow. My story, pretty simple. 18-year-old kid, knew nothing about nothing, had the personality of a brick. My mom used to say, son, you have the personality of like watching paint dry on the wall. My biggest fear in life was doing what I'm doing right now. My biggest fear in life was standing up in front of people and talking about anything. I took a speech class when I was in college, and I literally threw up in front of 10 people because I had no idea what to say or how to say it. People's biggest fear in life, experts say, is speaking in front of people. Dying is 4th. They would rather die than speak. But I can tell you, when you get a story inside of you and you start to go to work and you start to believe in you and you start to believe in your company, you start to believe in your product, you start to believe in other people, then you start to get up in front of people and you start to talk and you start to tell your story, and they get inspired, and then you just want to continue to do it because it feels really good when you give that away and you start to touch other people. And so I got involved in this industry. I can tell you what I did. I did everything that the person who brought me in told me to do. I didn't question it. I didn't have enough in my brain to be able to question anything. I didn't have enough to ask why every time they told me something. He just said, if you do what I tell you to do, you will become successful. If you don't, you will fail. I said, okay, I'm going to do what you tell me to do. He said, I need you to make a list of names. I said, how many people should be on the list? He said, everybody you know. Now, that's before cell phones. Now you have a cell phone. Okay? He said, I want you to write down every person you know. And here's what I did. I took my graduating class from high school. I took the 2 classes above it because I was a freshman in college. And every one of those people would at least know my name or know that we went to the same school. And it was like 400 people that I put down on a list with phone numbers. He said, start at the top and start calling. And that's what I did. And I literally read a script to 400 people. Now, here was the key. I read that script to 400 people within my first 30 days of being in this business. Okay, so I didn't wait. I didn't go through 400 people in 10 years. I called 400 people in 30 days. You see, it's not the big that eat the slow. It's the small. It's the fast that eats the slow. Speed is the key to this business. Momentum is the key to this business. I didn't understand it. He just said, call all 400 people in the next 30 days. And I did. Out of those 400 people, okay, here are the incredible results that I got. Okay, out of the 450 people, okay, 300 plus people, all right, either didn't answer, hung up the phone on me, screamed at me and told me no, told me it was a pyramid, told me it wouldn't work, told me it wouldn't last. The majority of them did, okay, but 150 of those people, okay, actually got on the phone and said, you know, yeah, I'll listen to something. All right, I'll listen to a conference call. I'll meet you for 10 minutes for coffee. I don't even know how many I met with, but I can tell you, out of the 450 people, okay, I got 50, right, that paid $100 and signed up. 400 said no, 50 said yes. Out of the 50 that said yes, 40 of them quit before the ink dried on the application. Okay, I've got 10. I've got 10 people out of 450 people in 30 days that say, yes, I want to do this. Okay? Now, of those 10, 6 of those people did nothing. They ordered product. They were customers. Okay? But 4 of those people, 4 out of 450, became complete rock stars. And their business over time went all over the country and went all over the world. And I have never had a job in my life because of what I did in my first 30 days. Now, the money didn't come in 30 days. The money didn't even come after the first year. It didn't come after the first 2 years. But the third year, you see, all that started to compound, and it started to grow, and 2 found 2, found 2, found 2, found 2, found 2, found 2, and it went bananas, and you couldn't even stop it. And so what's the point? Did I do anything special? No, I just went to work. I just watched what the person that sponsored me was doing, and luckily he was working, and I went to work. And I can tell you that that business is still here today. It's still here today. It's still all over the world today. Okay? Why? Well, it was a good company. Okay? Was it a great company? No. Right? Do I still have that business? Yes. But 4.5 years ago, when I saw Jeunesse, I said, this is my opportunity to get involved in a company that's going to do what the company that I was in did, but that's going to do it 100 times faster and 100 times bigger. And when you've been around a long time, you know what to look for. When you've been around a long time, you know what's good, you know what's not. You know what when people tell you if it's true and if it's not. And I can tell you that when we saw Jeunesse, we said, this is our chance. This is our chance to go do it and do it bigger and do it better than we've ever done it before. And so what did we do? I did the same thing, but you know what was really cool about this one? Did I go after big network marketers who had groups? Absolutely not. Did I go after all these, big heavy hitters that you see on the? No, I didn't go after any of them. Zero, none, zip. Why? Because they're not worth calling. Most of them have won once and they can't win again. Okay? And here's what I learned. Yesterday's home runs don't win today's game. So you know what I did? I pulled out my phone. Okay, I had about 500 names in my phone at the time, and my goal was to empty my phone in 30 days, to call everybody in my phone in 30 days. 99% of them were not in network marketing, had never been in network marketing, had never heard of Jeunesse. These are 500 people that I met over the years that I have in my phone that I like to keep a relationship with somehow, some way. And you know what I did? I called every single one of them. In 30 days, I called 500 people. You know what I got out of 500 people? Mr. Multimillionaire, Mr. Network Marketer for 25 years. You know the numbers I got out of 500 people? I got 52 people to join me. 52. None of them were big network marketers. 52. Out of the 52 that joined me, okay, I got a lot more customers because now I know how to get customers, okay, because our products are awesome. I just sent people product. I said, try the product. If you want it again, you can buy it. Here's a website. All right, but out of those 50 people, you know what I got? I got 6. I got 6 out of 50 that got serious. 6 out of 50 that did enough to go sapphire in this business. 6. I got 6. 500 people, 50 people get in, I get 6. And I got 1 superstar. I got one superstar. And guess what? The superstar had never done network marketing before. The superstar hated network marketing. They hated it. But you know what? I love people that hate it. Want to know why? Because they have an opinion. And at least they have an opinion. And people that have an opinion are a lot easier to turn than the people that are just, no opinion. They don't really care about anything. They're not passionate about anything. He didn't like it. His name's Tony Carlito. His wife didn't like it either. Her name's Xan. They're diamond directors today in Jeunesse Global, and they've got a business all over the world. They're flying tomorrow to Amsterdam for Jeunesse University, where they're going to have 100 people in the room. They were just in New York City. They're all over the world. And yet she worked in a factory, and he had a little computer business. Didn't believe they could do anything. But you know what they did? They got around Randy and Wendy. They started to believe in the company. They started to believe in the people. They started to believe in the product. The product changed her life. Changed her life medically. We don't make any medical guarantees or claims. Changed her life, though. See, facts tell, stories sell. And they started to believe in themselves. And then they started to believe other people could do this. And they have a business that spans the globe. So hopefully that inspires you that this works for anybody. I like to say it doesn't matter if you graduated from Yale or Yale, Penn State, or the State Penn, the outhouse, or the White House. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, yellow, blue, green, tall, fat, skinny, or small. It's no respecter of persons. All walks of life can do this. Calvin Becerra, who was here last week, double diamond director. Single parent, single mom, never made more than $15,000 a year. And he and his brothers literally worked 4 or 5 jobs just to go to a good high school in California. While they were in high school, all he knew was work. Did he have any experience in business? Did he have any success? Nothing. But he started to believe in what he was doing and believe in himself, and that belief led to the fact that he was going to go to work because he believed, and he went to work, and he or she who shows it the most times eventually wins. He or she who tells the story the most times eventually wins. Why? Because you see, if people see you telling the story, people do what they see. They don't do what you tell them to do. Some of you are like, yeah, why didn't my group do anything? Well, look in the mirror. People do what they see. Speed of the group determined by what? Speed of the leader. Habits of the group determined by what? Habits of the leader. People do what people see. So he went out and he became successful. He's got just hundreds of people behind him doing the same thing. Why? Because he went to work, he believed. And it can absolutely happen for you. And to empower you to leave this call, again, we talk about belief, we talk about inspiration, we talk about empowerment. What does that mean? Well, for me, empowerment means that after I get off a call like this, I'm fired up, I'm ready, I'm excited, but what do I do? Where do I go? How do I make this work? And I can tell you this, all the pressure was taken off of me when my sponsor sat down with me and said, if you are willing to go through more people doing the right things, it's not about just throwing the mud on the wall. You got to do the right things. You got to say the right things. You got to do it with the right belief, but nobody starts great. You see, everybody starts real bad. My little boy is 3 years old, and he's trying to ride a bike right now. It's not very pretty. But you know what? Eventually, he'll be able to ride a bike, and he'll be able to ride a bike really fast, and he'll be able to, ride a bike without even thinking about it. Why? Because nobody starts great. But you see, you don't have to be great to start, but, in order to be great, you got to eventually start. Tying shoes, he can't tie his shoes, but eventually he'll learn how to tie his shoes, and then he will unconsciously be able to tie his shoes. It's the same way in this business. And when I learned that, I was empowered to walk through it and to do it even when I didn't feel like it, to do it even when I didn't know how, to do it even when I didn't know all the right techniques and approaches. I knew that I would learn by doing. You see, you don't learn by reading in a book. You don't even learn by listening to something like this. You learn by doing. And when you learn by doing, by trial and error, by doing it right and figuring it out and not stopping, the only way you fail is if you stop. The only way you fail is if you quit. You see, sometimes you win, and the world will tell you sometimes you lose. But that's not the truth in this business. That's not the truth in the real business world. That might be the truth in school. That might be the truth where if you fail, then failure becomes defeat, and you got to repeat the class or repeat the grade, and you're labeled as dumb and stupid, and you can't go to college because your test score wasn't good enough. Then I learned that 80% of the multimillionaires in this country, they've never seen the inside of a college classroom. And I said, that's good. They don't have an education. Wrong. They have an education, but their education is different. They learn by trial and error. They learn from other people who were actually successful, not teaching you how to become successful out of a book. You see, I learned that failure was my friend. What empowered me was when the word no became my friend. It became my favorite word. And my sponsor said, go get 20 no's a day. I bet you can't get 20 no's in a day. I said, I bet I can. I'm that bad. I never got 20 in a day. I got 19 once. But you know what? I never got 20. By the time I got to 11, 12, 13, I was bound to say yes. And ultimately I did. And then once you keep going, like riding a bike or tying your shoes, you get better. And when you get better results, and you got to go through fewer people. And that's how simple this is. And so that's what empowered me. And so if I'm you on this phone, I get off this phone, not tomorrow, tonight, today, I don't care where you are. Send a text message and say, hey, I got something really important I want to talk to you about. You got 5 minutes? I got something really important I want to show you. You got 5 minutes? I got something that's very time sensitive. You got 5 minutes? And just start talking. Just start calling. Just start directing people to videos. Again, do what your upline, do what your mentorship, do what your team is teaching. Don't do what I'm teaching you. That's why I'm not going to get into specifics with you now. Do what they're teaching you. Why? They have a vested interest in your future. And they're going to tell you what they believe is the absolute best thing for you to win. Do that. But what I will tell you is do a lot of it. And do a lot of it every day. And do it every day. Not every other day, do it every day. People say, Jason, what does every day mean? Well, okay. Every day means every day. Even on my birthday, yes. Even on Christmas, yes. Even on Hanukkah, yes. Even on Easter, yes. Every single day, you read, you write, you listen, you speak, you prospect. You talk to people, you meet new people, you build your list every day of your life. You do things that are going to grow you and grow your business, and it becomes a habit, and then it's like going to the bathroom. You can't not do it. You just do it, and you do it every single day. But I came up with a song. I got a lot of no's. I wasn't very good. I was 18 years old. Nobody really wanted to listen to an 18-year-old kid. So I made up a song. Now, my little brother is a country music singer. Have any of you guys ever heard of Garth Brooks? Okay, well, that's not him, but he would love to be Garth Brooks one day. He lives in Nashville, and you know, he's a great songwriter. I'm not, but I wrote one song in my life, and it's to the tune of a nursery rhyme called Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And here's how it goes. No, 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 yes. No, 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 yes. No, 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 yes. And you keep going through no, 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 no. The faster you go through them, the faster you get the yes. And I'm going to close with this. Some of you are out there looking for that one guy and that one girl. Some of you are saying, God, if I could just get this one, then he would make me successful. Not how it works. Okay, get that mentality out of your head. If you go through a lot of people, the right girl and the right guy will come into your life. But I've never, ever seen someone come to me and say, I got this one guy, the one guy, they never do a thing. Right? Why? Because they sense that you are drooling over them so much that they run. And when you sell, you repel. When you need people, they run. But when you don't care whether they do it or not, because they're just a number, they're just a name in your phone. Some of you will do this. You'll start them at A's in your phone, and you, oh, no, I don't want to call it. Let me tell you what I did. If I wasn't going to call them, I took them out of my phone. I was going to go through my entire phone so I could then teach people to go through their entire phone, because you have no idea what somebody's going through right now tonight. You have no idea who's down on their knees tonight praying to God that an opportunity comes in their life to change their life. A product comes into their life to change their health, to change the way they look, to change the way they feel. You have no idea. And even if it's not the person you're calling, after every call, and I'll give you just a little tip. Okay, oh, Joe, you're not interested. Well, who do you know that's like super ambitious that really wants to make something of themselves? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know that would like to try a product for free that could change the way they look? Who do you know that would like to look at a business that could change their life? Like, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? So even if it's not the person you call, it doesn't matter. Who do you know? 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 But I heard a multimillionaire say this, and again, I'll close with this. I went to see this guy, and again, show me your mentor, predict your future. This guy was in another company. It shows you can learn from everybody. Everybody's got something to teach. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something that can add value to your life if you will just listen. And I heard that this guy who had started this big insurance network marketing company was coming to New Orleans. And he was a little football coach from a little town called Cairo, Georgia. And he was making $17,000 a year as a football coach. And he had 2 kids. And he couldn't make enough money to literally feed his family. So he started selling insurance at night. And then he decided he's going to start his own insurance company. It became a really big insurance company. And it was a direct sales insurance company. And he ended up selling this company many years later. And he walked away with over $1 billion. And his name is Art Williams. And I was never involved in that company. I never wanted to sell insurance. But you know what? I knew there was something I could learn from him. I heard he was going to be there, and I went. And I sat at this man's feet, and he told me this story. A little girl looked up at him. She was about 19 years old, and she said, "Mr. Art, can you guarantee my success in this business?" And he said, "Absolutely not." He said, "My name is Art. I can't guarantee you anything." Williams. He talked a little bit like Randy Ray. He said, "But I will tell you this." He said, "Is there an airport in this town?" And she said, "Yeah, it's right by my house." "Is it a big airport?" "It's a huge airport." Are there airplanes coming in there all night long? Are there airplanes coming in, on the runway all day and night? She says, "Yeah." She says, "All day and night." Now, keep in mind, this was 25 years ago. This was before TSA and all this craziness going on in the world. And he said, "You think you could get out on that runway?" And she said, "Yeah, I've been out on that runway." He said, "Well, I tell you, I can't guarantee you anything." He said, "But I will tell you this. If you walk out on that runway and you start walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and even when you get tired, you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And even when you get hungry, you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And even when you got baby mama drama, you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Even if it gets cold, you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Even on your birthday, you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Even if it gets real hot in South Louisiana, you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. He said, "I promise you, if you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, eventually, if you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, you're going to get hit by an airplane." Tony and X and Carlito are airplanes. Calvin Becerra is an airplane. Todd Hartog is an airplane. Kevin Jagir is an airplane. You see, if you keep walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, eventually you keep showing this business to people every single day, sharing the product every single day, every day of your life. Eventually, those people are going to come into your life. And all you need is 6. All you need is 6. 6 people stand in your way of living the life that you have always dreamed of. So I empower you, I implore you to go out, talk to people every day about the greatest business in the entire world, which is the Jeunesse Globe, with the greatest products, with the greatest people. Start to believe in that. Start to believe in you. Start to believe in other people. And you can join us on the beaches of the world in Jeunesse Diamond Club. Edith, thank you again for having me. I apologize if I went a little bit too long. I got a little bit excited. But again, it's an honor and privilege to be with all of you. God bless all of you. And I am signing off.
Thank you, Jason. I only have one word for you, my favorite word, and that is wow. Pretty amazing. I have a page full of notes. Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time, a little bit of an hour of your time tonight. I think we went a little over, but it was totally worth it. So I appreciate your time and sharing and your enthusiasm, and I for sure know everybody on this call tonight will leave on fire to truly connect with somebody, like you said, with the action plan to move forward. And I have a new favorite song. I'm already singing it. I see. So thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Remember, the recording for this call will be available as of tomorrow around noon in the back office under Education Calendar. If you have team members that missed the call, please share the recording. Have everybody really, truly be ready to live Jeunesse and be inspired by Jason tonight. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.